All right, now the Arabian invasion of North Africa was of great consequence. The Arabs conquered their way across between 639 and 708 AD. Many Africans fled south from North Africa to lands south of the Sahara to avoid being enslaved. This is why in Africa today, non-blacks live north of the Sahara and blacks live south of the Sahara. Do we get this? And if you visit any one of the North African countries, the further south you go, the blacker everybody gets, right? Now, those that remained converted to Islam. The Arabs occupied Egypt in 639 AD. They occupied Tripoli, which is Libya, 643 AD, and southwest Morocco by 681 AD. I'm using terms like Morocco because you know where it is on a map. These countries didn't exist under those names at that time. In 698, they appointed Musa ibn Nusair governor of North Africa. However, Musa wanted to take control of Spain, but feared that an invasion at this time would exhaust his armies. So he had to think of, what am I going to do next? Musa ibn Nusair is a Yemeni, so he's from the Arabian Peninsula. But the Yemenis, do any of them look like any of you? Yes. Yes. So that's another story. All right, so what was going on in Spain? Well, in Spain, the Visigoths, the Germans, had been in control for the previous 200 years. And they are the ancestors of modern Spanish identity. Does that make sense? So if you're Spanish, your ancestors are the Goths. Does that make sense? And it's during this same time period, these German speakers basically conquer the Roman Empire. They also conquer their way into Britain, and they become the English. Do you get that? So what does that mean? It means before 500 AD, no, 400 and something AD, there weren't any English people living in England. Do you know where they were living? Germany. Yeah? All right. Now, the Goths seized Spain from the rule of the ailing Roman Empire that was collapsing during this period. So what did Musa do next? He sent a reconnaissance mission of 500 African converts to Islam into Spain, led by an African called Tarif. Using 4 ships supplied by Musa, they landed in Spain and they plundered a port, and they gave the port a new name, Tarifa. What about that? Named after Tarif, right? And what happened is the Moors imposed a special tax at that port, and that's the origin of the word tariff. Right? Did we know this? Aren't you glad you're here? All right, so in 711, Musa sent a second and more formidable African army into Spain, led by Tariq ibn Ziyad. Tariq ibn Ziyad was an African, and he led an expeditionary force of 6,700 African soldiers, 300 Arab translators and propagandists, and they occupied a portion of Spain, and then they renamed that part that they occupied the Rock of Tariq. Jebel Tariq, Gibraltar. You understanding this? Yeah? So that too is named after an African. Yeah? Okay, now European writer from the time period, there's a European monk, and this is what he said happened. The reins of their horses were as fire, their faces black as pitch. Their eyes shone like burning candles. Their horses were swift as leopards, and the riders fiercer than a wolf in a sheepfold at night. The noble Goths were broken in an hour, quicker than tongue can tell. O luckless Spain. Now, can you see that there's a description of the Moors that you don't often see? Faces black as pitch. So that tells us that dark-skinned Moors were the majority, but the light-skinned ones were also there. Right?